It is Tuesday night, not Friday, not after some big celebratory event. Just a regular Tuesday. You got home at 6:45. You have food in the fridge. There is chicken in there, some vegetables, pasta in the cabinet, a completely cookable meal sitting 20 feet away from you. But you are tired. Not sick tired, not emergency tired. Just the normal low-grade exhaustion of a person who has been on since 7 a.m. and has nothing left. So you do what you always do. You pick up your phone, you open the app, and within about 90 seconds, you have committed to spending $43 on a meal that the restaurant charges $19 for. And here is the part that makes this interesting. You already knew it was going to cost $43. You saw the fees, you saw the service charge, you saw the delivery fee and the small order fee and the suggestion to tip before the food even leaves the restaurant. You saw all of it and you tapped confirm anyway. Because at that moment, $24 in fees felt completely reasonable in exchange for not having to stand in a kitchen for 40 minutes. That is not a personal finance failure. That is not laziness or irresponsibility. That is a psychological system working exactly as it was designed to work. And the people who designed it have spent billions of dollars making sure that on a Tuesday night, when you are tired and hungry, the path of least resistance leads directly to their platform and away from your savings account. My name is Bobby, and I spend way too much time thinking about the invisible systems that extract money from people who are too exhausted to notice. If you have ever looked at your monthly bank statement and felt genuinely confused about where your money went, or if you order delivery more than you technically planned to when you downloaded the app, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Because today we are not talking about budgeting or investing. We are talking about something much more specific. We are talking about how 3 or 4 apps on your phone engineered one of the most effective quiet wealth transfers in modern consumer history, and why the actual cost of your Tuesday night convenience is not $43. It is closer to $400,000. Here is the thing that most people get wrong about delivery apps. They think of each order as a one-time decision. $43. That is what it costs. That is what they paid, done. But that framing is exactly what the apps want you to use. Because the moment you start looking at delivery as a pattern rather than a purchase, the math becomes genuinely alarming. Let us start with the basic anatomy of a single delivery order. Because most people have a vague sense that fees exist, but almost nobody has actually broken down where their money goes on a typical transaction. Say you order from a local Thai place. The dish you want is listed at $14 on the app. You add some spring rolls for $8. Your subtotal is $22. Then the screen does what it always does. Delivery fee, $3.99. But wait. There is a small order fee of $1.99 because you did not hit the threshold for free delivery. Service fee, $4.12, which is roughly 15% of your subtotal and exists as a separate charge from the delivery fee for reasons the app does not explain. Then the tip prompt appears. The app suggests 18, 20, or 25%. You tap 20%. Because you feel guilty tapping anything lower. That is $4.40. Your order total is now $36.50 for $22 worth of food. And you have not paid for your drink yet. But here is what most people do not realize about that breakdown. The $14 dish on the app is not the same as the $14 dish in the restaurant. According to multiple investigations by the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg, most restaurants charge 15 to 30% more on delivery platforms than they charge for the same items in-house or for pickup. Why? Because the platforms charge restaurants a commission of 15 to 30% of the order total just for the privilege of being listed. The restaurant has two choices. Either eat the commission and destroy their already razor-thin margins, or raise their delivery prices to compensate. Almost all of them raise their prices. So that $14 pad thai? It is probably $10.50 if you walk in and order it yourself. Let us redo the math with that in mind. Real food cost, roughly $16 for both items at in-restaurant prices. What you actually paid, $36.50. You paid $20.50 in combined markups and fees on $16 worth of food. Your effective fee rate on the actual food cost is 128%. You paid more than double the cost of the food just to have it delivered on a Tuesday night. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Bobby, I know delivery is expensive. I only do it a few times a week. It is not like it is bankrupting me. And look, I hear that. But let us do the frequency math together, because this is where the individual transaction stops being about convenience and starts being about a structural drain on your finances. A 2023 survey by Lending Club found that Americans who use delivery apps spend an average of $232 per month on food delivery. That is not a fringe user. That is the average person who has the apps installed and uses them with any regularity. $232 a month is $2,784 a year. Almost $3,000 annually leaving your account and going to a platform that did not grow the food, did not cook the food, and did not serve the food. But let us be conservative. Let us say you are more disciplined than average. You only order 3 times a week, and your average order is $38. That is $114 a week, $494 a month, $5,928 a year, nearly $6,000 a year in food delivery. And here is the critical question. How much of that food would you have eaten at home for what it actually costs? A home-cooked meal for one person in America costs an average of $4 according to USDA data. For 2 people, roughly $7 to $9. The $38 delivery order you just placed likely represents $8 to $12 of actual ingredient cost. The remaining $26 to $30 is the convenience stack. That is the term I want you to remember. The convenience stack is the layered premium you pay on top of the actual cost of food in exchange for not having to cook. And the convenience stack, it turns out, is not a small surcharge. It is often 3 to 4 times the underlying cost of the thing you are buying. Now here is where the story gets darker, because the fee structure is only half of the extraction. The other half is behavioral. And this is the part that the apps have invested hundreds of millions of dollars into getting exactly right. Delivery apps are not technology companies in the way most people think. They are behavioral modification companies that happen to deliver food. Every element of the user experience has been designed by teams of psychologists, behavioral economists, and game designers to maximize one specific metric: order frequency. Not customer satisfaction, not value delivery. Order frequency. Think about how the apps work for a moment. The home screen does not show you a neutral list of restaurants. It shows you curated, personalized recommendations based on your order history, your location, the time of day, and the weather. If it is raining, the app knows you're more likely to order. It surfaces promotions specifically on rainy Tuesday evenings. If you ordered sushi last Friday, it reminds you about sushi this Friday. The app builds a detailed behavioral profile of your hunger patterns and emotional states, and uses that data to present the most irresistible option at the exact moment you are most vulnerable to ordering. The free delivery threshold is a classic casino mechanic called a near-miss trigger. You have $16 in your cart and free delivery kicks in at $20. The app helpfully shows you items you might like to add. The threshold is not set at $20 because that is a natural breakpoint. It is set at $20 because data showed that it is high enough to increase average order size, but low enough that most users will add something rather than pay the delivery fee. You just got upsold by a piece of software that knows your spending patterns better than you do. The tip prompt is another engineered moment. By asking for the tip before delivery rather than after, the apps remove the natural evaluation moment where you would judge the tip against the actual service received. They replace it with social pressure and guilt applied at the most emotionally charged moment of the transaction, when you are hungry and you just want the food to arrive. Studies on pre-tipping behavior show that people tip significantly more when prompted before receiving a service than after, because before is aspirational and after is evaluative. The apps chose before for a reason. And then there are the subscriptions. DoorDash DashPass, Uber Eats One, Instacart Plus, $9 to $10 a month in exchange for reduced delivery fees. These subscriptions exist for one reason: behavioral lock-in. Once you're paying a monthly fee, your brain reclassifies delivery from an occasional splurge to a service you are already paying for. Research on subscription psychology shows that people who subscribe to a service use it significantly more frequently than non-subscribers, even after controlling for the free delivery benefit. You are not saving money on delivery fees. You are being charged for a psychological nudge that makes you order more often. The app makes more in increased order frequency than it loses in waived fees, every time. But the story does not end with your wallet, because the delivery economy has also fundamentally restructured the restaurant industry in ways that are making the underlying problem worse for everyone. Before the major delivery platforms dominated the market, a local restaurant operated on margins of 3 to 9%. Thin, but enough to survive with a loyal customer base and reasonable rent. The delivery platforms came in offering exposure and volume, charging commissions that started reasonable and crept up to 30% as the platforms gained dominance and restaurants became dependent. A restaurant doing $50,000 a month in delivery orders at 30% commission is writing a $15,000 check to a platform every single month before they pay for food, labor, or rent. Many restaurants cannot survive that math, so the ones that remain either raise their delivery prices, cut their portion sizes, or both. The restaurant you loved 3 years ago is now charging you more, giving you less, and sending 30 cents of every dollar you spend to a platform headquartered in San Francisco. The local economy of your neighborhood restaurant is being quietly hollowed out, and the cost is being passed directly to you through the convenience stack you pay every Tuesday night. Here is where I want to make this real, in a way that changes how you see every single order. Let us talk about what this money actually costs in terms of your future. If you spend $300 a month on delivery, which is below average for a regular app user, that is $3,600 a year. If instead of spending that money on delivery, you invested it in a basic index fund earning 8% annually, here is what happens. After 10 years, you have approximately $56,000. After 20 years, you have approximately $178,000. After 30 years, you have approximately $440,000. You are not ordering a $38 meal. You are spending the equivalent of $440,000 in future wealth on a meal that would have cost you $9 to cook at home. The Tuesday night pad thai is not a $14 decision. It is a lifetime wealth decision dressed up as a convenience fee. And the apps have worked very hard to make sure it never feels like one. Now, I want to be clear about something because I know what you are thinking. Bobby, are you telling me to never order delivery again? No, that is not what I am saying. I am saying you need to stop treating delivery as a neutral transaction and start treating it as what it actually is: a premium subscription to a convenience service with a behavioral modification layer designed to maximize your usage, whether you intended that usage or not. The reframe that changes everything is this: stop thinking about delivery as a per-order decision and start thinking about it as a monthly service cost. If you are ordering 4 times a week at an average of $38, you are paying $608 a month for a food convenience service. Would you consciously sign up for a $600 a month subscription? Probably not. But that is exactly what you're paying, because the per-transaction framing hides the aggregate cost. The practical approach is what I call a delivery audit. Pull up your bank or credit card statement right now and add up every delivery charge from the last 30 days. Not your estimate. The actual number. Most people who do this exercise discover they are spending 40 to 60% more than they thought. That number is your starting point. Then set a delivery budget the way you would set any discretionary budget. A hard monthly number. When it is gone, it is gone. Most people find that simply knowing the monthly total causes them to be dramatically more selective about which orders are worth the convenience stack and which ones are habit spending disguised as necessity. The nights worth ordering are the genuine crisis nights. You are sick, you are traveling, something went wrong. The nights not worth ordering are the Tuesday nigger. The nights worth ordering are the genuine crisis nights. You are sick, you are traveling, something went wrong. The nights not worth ordering are the Tuesday nights when you are tired but functional, when there is food in the fridge, when the only thing stopping you from cooking is a habit that an app trained into you over 18 months of frictionless one-tap ordering. I want to leave you with one thought that I think reframes this entire conversation. The delivery apps did not create a service and then find customers for it. They identified a moment of human vulnerability, the tired weeknight, the low-energy evening, the completely predictable point where a person's willpower is at its lowest, and they built a frictionless extraction machine that lives in your pocket and waits for that moment every single day. They sold it to you as convenience. They sold it to Wall Street as engagement metrics and order frequency. The product was never the food. The product was always the habit. The food just comes along for the ride. You already knew delivery was expensive. You knew it before you opened this video. But now you know exactly how expensive. And more importantly, you know that the cost was engineered to be invisible, to feel like a series of small, reasonable decisions rather than a single large, irrational one. Because that is the only way the math works. Not for you, for them. Close the app. Open the fridge. The chicken has been in there since Sunday, and it is not going to cook itself. But it will only cost you $4 and the $400,000 you just decided to keep. If this video made you open your bank statement, share it with someone who needs to see the number. Hit that like button and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.